Shalom, Kahala Yahweh Shemiel Shabbat Hashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and other bishops of Great Millstone, even the elders that came before them that taught us His truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers I'm pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the elder Yashawan. Shalom and salutations to you all. We're in the feast of unleavened bread. It's like the second day, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah. Do well on that. Invasion, inflation, cutbacks, and more war. Get ready. Uh, Lamentations, mourning, and woe. Ezekiel 2 and 10. And he spread it out before me, that roll. And he spread it out before me, and it was written within and without. And there was written therein, lamentations, mourning, and woe. This is what the prophets are going to be saying. This is what the prophets will be prophesying about. If they ain't prophesying about lamentations, mourning, they ain't no prophet. Let's go back. Let's go back one here. Ezekiel 2 and 9. And when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. Or then I looked and saw a hand stretched out to me, and it was a scroll. What happened next? Which he unrolled before me on both sides. Which he unrolled before me. On both sides of it were written words of lament and mourning and woe. And I saw that both sides were covered with funeral songs, words of sorrow, and pronouncements of doom. Pronouncements of doom, which is woe, lamentations, mourning, and woe. Pronouncements of doom. The prophets of doom. They're out there prophesying doom. That's your job. Sighing and crying. Lamentation, funeral songs were written on it were words of lamentation, funeral songs, and mourning and woe. Dirge, grief, sadness, horrible things written on it, groans and wails. What is it? A wailing and gnashing of teeth. Okay, lamentations, mourning, and woe. So we ain't here to say nothing good. Canticles. Canticles. What is that? Cankles, nigga. I like a good set of cankles. Let's see. Wailings and funeral dirges. There it is. I just said that. Dirges. It's a funeral song on the streets of New Orleans. Yeah. Okay, so I got it queued up right here, and I'm gonna let it run right up to about 8. He ain't gonna say nothing good. All right. And I don't know. Travis might be a Jake, but this word invasion, I want to look at. Okay, they're talking about an invasion this weekend. Yeah, ground invasion. What other invasion? Project Bluebeam invasion on Sunday. What about that? Invasion. Alien invasion. What's going on down on the border right now? Aren't there a whole bunch of so-called sleeper cells waiting to do what this weekend? When is a good time for sleeper cells to jump up out of their sleep? On a good holiday, right? Especially the one dealing with Christians. Right? So anyway, um, we'll look at this invasion. But let's let him talk, and he's going to speak of Lamentations, mourning, and woe. We could even say Jacob's trouble. We'll get that, Lord willing. Take it, Travis.
In the last 24 hours of stuff that's going on, things that the president has said, stuff that the government's. I guess it's just continuing. It's the news has been all over the board in the last 24 hours of stuff that's going on, things that the president has said, stuff that the government's doing, things regarding the war. Um, and not to be a sky is falling Debbie Downer, but none of it is good. And I think that we need to accept the fact that we are in that time. Okay, we are in that time of us of the world shifting to that kind of that end times, that new world order, great reset, all that kind of stuff.
He's on it. Right here, you got Nathaniel 7 preaching a prosperity doctrine, saying everything's going to be all right. Ain't no microchips. Ain't no Jacob's trouble. Everything's going to be all right. Just marry this nigga over here and give me your money.
And we're going to see more of this. We just are. The president has well, I guess we'll start this off. There was a video leaked or accidentally posted on the White House website, and then very quickly removed. But of course, everything on the internet, once it's there forever. Unless it's Epstein. It's Epstein stuff, man. That just disappears. But anyways, the president was talking and stated that the U.S. government is no longer going to be paying for daycare and Medicaid and Medicare and any of that kind of stuff. That we're shifting to a war footing. That all of our resources and focus will be on war production, and that any of those social programs, like I just mentioned,
will not be getting you out of military service, so having a baby is not an option.
If states want them, then the states are going to have to pay for them themselves, and he's already ordering certain departments of government to stop funding these things. So that's going to affect a lot of people. Whether you like it or not, it's going to affect a lot of people. He's also ordered a Veterans Home Safety Net program to be canceled. And that is a program for veterans to help them get into a home and help them keep a home.
Yet, the veterans of Israelis that we pay for, right, into their future won't be harmed.
And if that is canceled, there's going to most likely be, at least it's reported, that thousands, tens of thousands of veterans may lose their homes because of that. And so, we're shifting. We're not cutting back and spending. Understand that. We're not saving money. We're not cutting back and spending. We're just taking our money and spending it on war efforts so that we can go over and be in the Middle East.
That's Joel, right? Take that plowshares and beat them into swords. We're going to take that money that we were using to grow things like babies, daycare, and food. Right? Now we're going to put it into we need more bombs. We got to redistribute that well.
We're not cutting back and spending. We're just taking our money and spending it on war efforts so that we can go over and be in the Middle East.
Let's get that real quick before somebody accuses me of enough. You didn't bring out no scripture. We learned years ago, that's Joel 3 and 10. This is what he's saying right now. It's not talking about that, it's talking about swords. I'm like, look, it's a parable. Joel 3 and 10. Let's get the KJ. Beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Okay, everybody is working on their war effort. More war. Cutbacks for what? For more war. Right? They got invasions this weekend.
Do all that stuff over there that's not really directly interest for us, you know. Anyways, a lot of people seem to be getting fired here lately too. You know, the other day it was Kristi Noem. Today, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, got fired. I guess, a shock to a lot of people because even recently the president has praised the work that she's done as Attorney General, but he
You're fired.
fired her today. Pete Hegseth is doing the same thing. He fired three top-ranking Army generals. One of them,
You're fired.
the highest-ranking Army general. And the rumor mill in Washington is he was fired because this particular general would not agree to give the order to do a ground invasion into Iran. And so he was fired and told that he needed to retire, which indicates that we're probably getting closer to a ground invasion. A U.S. intelligence report came out.
A ground what? Invasion. We're getting closer to what? So we haven't done no invasion yet. When would be a good time to do an invasion? Maybe this weekend, yeah? Are they planning an invasion this weekend? He said it. Let's see if I can get him to say it again.
A U.S. intelligence report came out, which indicates that we're probably getting closer to a ground invasion. A U.S. intelligence report came out stating that Iran not only has still significant missile launch capabilities, but still has a significant supply of missiles. That it's not true that we have destroyed, you know, most of them. Also, the president has kind of, you know, waffled on another thing that he has said. He's said repeatedly that that the United States military has destroyed Iran's navy, that it's gone, that it doesn't exist. But now he's saying that one of the goals is to destroy Iran's navy, not that we have already. So it's all back and forth waffling. There's been still some significant attacks into Iran and Iran into U.S. military and Israeli targets. The United States struck a civilian bridge in Iran. It's the largest bridge in the Middle East, and they destroyed that. It's a civilian target. It's usually not considered okay by modern standards for militaries to attack civilian targets. So that's happening. Iran is threatening to, you know, attack all sorts of other targets with Israel and the United States. So things there are just continually expanding and getting worse and worse. And so this idea that it's winding down or that will be done in a matter of days, I still think is very, very unlikely. In matters of oil and economy, okay? The oil prices have gone up. Brent crude and regular WTI oil has gone up, and to you know $110, $116 a barrel. But the dated oil, which basically what this means. Let me put it this way. Do you remember back when gold was skyrocketing? I mean, gold is still pretty high, 4,700 an ounce or whatever. But remember when it was making that spike up, and we were seeing, or silver. I think it was silver that was actually doing this. Silver was going up, and you know, silver was, you know, trading at $100 an ounce, or the actual number was, you know, $90 to $100 an ounce, but people were selling it for like $120, $130, $140 an ounce. Well, the same thing's happening with oil. So oil, according to the market, is at one price, but what it's actually being sold for is another price. And
that's very important. Okay, listen to what he's going to say, because oil is trading right now at about 109, 115. What we can see, but that's the price they want us to see. There's another price, and he's explaining
for like $120, $130, $140 an ounce. Well, the same thing's happening with oil. So oil, according to the market, is at one price, but what it's actually being sold for is another price. And that price has risen now to $141 a barrel.
That, this is what nobody knows. Okay? At 150, it's problem. At 200, hyperinflation. Hyper what? Inflation, not invasion. We're going to talk about invasion right now. But what about that inflation? People, oh, we're good right now at 109. No, you're not. You're not good.
$141 a barrel. Several of the banks and stuff here in America are saying that if oil hits around $150 a barrel, it could cause a global recession. And that being said, Russia has now announced that they are not allowing any oil to be exported out of their country at least till July. They're going to hold on to all their oil. So, with what's going on in the Middle East,
An oil squeeze for what? The upcoming war. Why did Japan attack at Pearl Harbor? The answer is oil.
Russia, with everything else, it's just making things worse, folks. It's just making things worse, and it's not going to get any better. They're expecting that gas prices at the pump will rise at least another 50 cents or so this month.
And I'm going to stop it right there. So we got Lamentations morning. Well, this invasion. Let's see. Will U.S. invade Iran this Easter? How do you spell Easter? E-A-S-T-E-R, weekend. That's the question. Okay. This is see what comes up. In 2026, what about Easter weekend? It's starting. Biggest U.S. ground invasion of Iran. What happens next is unbelievable. 2 days. Okay. 3 days. Trump willing to end war, nearing completion. 1 day. What about Easter weekend? Cancel. It says bombs. U.S. bombs Iran's energy infrastructure after Trump canceled attack. Huh. Well, that's live, supposedly. 30 days. Nothing about Easter. Opening trade. Oil surges as Trump vows to hit Iran hard. Okay, so what do we got? There's a war going on. They're explaining it away. Let's see. That's what I see. Okay, so 2 months ago for the biggest U.S. ground invasion. Let's look into this. 4 days ago, I want to know what's going on like now, nearing completion. What is this, Fox? This is live. So they're over there bombing. Are they invading? Will they invade on Sunday? 2 months, 3 days. Let's see. Let's watch this real quick. Let's see what this is. It's starting. Like that. Bear with me. In Slovakia.
Seeds of a ground campaign. The US is setting up for a ground invasion of Iran US Marines and paratroopers are sailing to the Persian Gulf region. What started as a devastating series of airstrikes in Operation Epic Fury is starting to look like the seeds of a ground campaign. The US is setting up for a ground invasion of Iran, and Tehran's regime absolutely isn't ready. The ground invasion will change everything, and what happens next will be unbelievable. The incoming forces to Iran certainly indicate that a ground invasion is coming. The Telegraph reports that the US has sent around 2,000 soldiers from the elite 82nd Airborne Division to the Gulf, and that they're currently en route and will be ready to step into action if negotiations with Iran break down. They're being joined by similar numbers of US Marines from both the 31st and the 11th Marine Expeditionary Units, or MEUs, the former of which should be arriving in the Persian Gulf region at some point toward the end of March. These are all units that specialize in ground operations.
At some point during the end of March. That was the most important thing that I'm going to get out of that. It says, former of which should be arriving in the Persian Gulf region at some point toward the end of March. Are they about to pull a ground invasion like this weekend? Or, what does it say? Biggest U.S. what? Ground what? Look how big invasion is. Invasion. The military invade. What kind of invasion? What else is going on this weekend? Well, let's see. Easter. Sunday. Alien. Invasion. Watch this. Let me see what comes up. Because I did this, and then this guy popped up, and he understood what I understood. Okay, that there could be an alien invasion. How do we get that? Tomorrow, what is this? Easter. Sounds like it's going to be wild. This guy comes up. So what's going on here? 9 months. Core Bell. 2027. What about Easter? Well, now I have to go to my history because I saw something last night. I gotta find it now. Bear with me. Let's see. What am I looking for here? I saw this guy who understood this guy. See, and this just didn't pop up right now. Look, it's in the title. Look, Easter. Is Project Bluebeam going to start on Easter? How did he get that? How did he come up with that? How did this guy come up with, is Project Bluebeam going to start on Easter? And that's me, Bluebeam Easter Sunday. Okay? How did he come up with that? How was he able to put together that Bluebeam could come on Easter? Because this guy, Chris Bledsoe, said that, right? He was told and that the world is going to change on Easter Sunday 2026. That we were going to go from where we are now to suddenly everybody's going to get an increase in knowledge, right? Because of what? Because the UFOs are going to show up on Easter Sunday. He said UFO. So what is UFOs going to show up on Easter Sunday? What does that mean? Right? That means that Project Bluebeam could start on Easter. So this guy figured it out. And it seems as though he's the only one that I found who figured it out, figured out what I figured out. This guy, Bledsoe, is saying on Easter Sunday,
Look at
something's going to happen, dealing with UFOs. And he's been saying this, right? So when you find out that this guy is compromised and that the government got to him, right? And just the way he talks, he's spinning a yarn. Okay, you can tell. But anyway, look at the large hand movements.
Panic, took off running, ran to the back of the cul-de-sac where I'd gone in that day, and he knew where I'd gone because he'd watching me all the time. And I cried out to him. I started shouting for him, and nothing. Couldn't hear anything. So I started making my way into the forest. I got about 10.
The thing about all of this is you can implant a memory into this guy's mind. As soon as they start dealing with you, they have techniques and been doing this for so long that they know exactly what they're doing. They can compromise somebody who may have actually had an actual experience. That's what it sounds like with this guy. He had a real experience or whatever, and then they came in and they compromised him, and now he's their boy. And what they're doing is using him to set up a potential false flag that could happen this Sunday. This is the point being made. He keeps saying something's going to happen Easter 2026. So we have to keep our eye on that. All right? What is he saying? He's saying that UFOs are going to show up. Really. But he's got a book, right? And on the cover of his book, he got a picture of Caesar. See, we know how to break these things down. You understand? So as soon as you see Caesar Borgia being pushed, it's a problem. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. But he got the whole book. He got Caesar on the book talking about the blonde-haired, blue-eyed she-god appeared, and then he called it all sorts of different names. And as far as ISIS and different things of that sort. But if you know how to look at these things, right, you know what's going on. Anyway, this guy is saying that on Easter, the ETs are going to reveal themselves, is what he said. And then, I believe it was in this very interview, which this guy's been doing interviews going back years now, so he's a professional interviewee, right? Said that the entities that he was dealing with go back to who he said was Jesus Christ, which was, he said, this is the first time I'm saying this in this interview. I'm dealing with Jesus Christ. Really? Okay. And that Jesus Christ you're dealing with looks like Caesar Borgia. Okay. So that's what this is, right? But the point is, it's dealing with an invasion happening on the same week, right, as what? This possible invasion in Iraq. Is that by coincidence? And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I know I'm talking long, but I'm just pointing something out. So there could be an invasion, a ground invasion, right? And there could be a sky invasion, if you will. War in heaven invasion. Great deception. What is it? Strong delusion. What am I looking for? I think go there. We know, all right, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. What device? There's an invasion. See that word all big right there? Invasion, ground invasion. And then over here, this is an invasion. Where'd this guy go? Is there an invasion going to happen? Where'd this guy go? Where'd that guy go? Right here. And what's his problem? Why? How was he able to figure that out?
Snap your
Okay. Why did he ask, is Blue Beam going to start on Easter? See, he figured that out. And the Spirit gave that to me. Come on, say something. Bear with me. How was he able to put that together?
Didn't want to go away. It's like, show
He's
them
a
more
weird dude. Talk about he's a remote
paperclip
viewer.
from Germany. And he said on his deathbed, supposedly, that this Project Bluebeam, or this alien invasion, would be their last shot at controlling humanity if everything else failed. Right? So are we close to that point? Is it actually going to happen on Sunday? My thoughts are no. As a remote viewer and intuitive, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's interesting. And why is it not going to happen? Because I think timelines are changing very rapidly, right? And some of these negative timelines that were going to happen just aren't, because consciousness is rising, and that's a good thing, right? So we'll see. I don't know. Will it come later? Still a possibility that they do Project Bluebeam, but maybe not on the day that they had planned, which is going to be on Sunday, right? So we'll just have to watch Sunday.
How did he know Blue Beam on Sunday? Okay. How did he know that? How did he put that together? That's my question. I put it together because I have insider knowledge. We have this truth. We use the truth to be able to find out what this devil is up to. This guy figured it out. He ain't in no truth.
And after I saw that clip, and I'd heard something about that over the years, because it's pretty long. It was like back in 2012 that he had this vision, and it's very interesting. We've heard about Project Bluebeam, so why would they bring out Project Bluebeam? Okay, so Werner von Braun, who was a Nazi scientist at
Base Delta 18 at Wright-Patterson, arguably the most UFO-connected military base.
All right, Wright-Patterson. All right, so remember that name. We're going to talk about a lot of science.
They say that the wreckage from Roswell was flown directly to Wright-Patterson. Blah, blah, blah.
That have been disappearing,
Hangar 18,
that are connected with Wright-Patterson. Of course, like he's saying here, Wright-Patterson seems to have the most UFO sightings of any of the bases.
Meaning this, okay? While Russia was doing their thing with the Nazi scientists that were working on Diclock and Hanebu 123 and on up, right? All they did was continue their work. Nazis continued their work. They went down to Antarctica, whatever, Argentina, whatever they did. The other ones came over here. I think Great Britain got some of these Nazi scientists, and then Russia got some. And Roswell was the result of this guy Mengele and those little aliens, what they're calling them, right, were his experiments of those children, that they made look like some sort of freaks or whatever, and they were just trying to scare the Americans with some propaganda. That's what Roswell was, and they took that little experiment, and they've been doing that stuff back and forth to each other because really they're all working together on the same situation, which is to try to fight against Yahushua when he comes back. They all know about that, but this little, back and forth thing all comes out of the same program, right? Which, what is it, high jump or whatever? Not high jump, paperclip, right? Which goes back to Nazi Germany, where these things came out. It's all the same program. Now it's NASA, same thing.
In American history. And it's also been reported that government remote viewers were tasked with looking at this date. So, what do they know that we don't? Drop your theories down in the comments. Have you heard of this prediction?
All right, so that's the prediction.
Booking.com has all kinds
No
of
prediction. That's the date that they chose, and they implanted it. There's no prediction. See, because basically what they're trying to say is this is the day that Yahushua is coming back. And no man knoweth the time except for the Father himself. So anybody popping up saying it's on this date is a damn liar. We all know.
And show as well. I don't think I've seen it, but I was kind of looking around at his information after I saw that clip. And I'd heard something about that over the years, because it's pretty long. It was like back in 2012 that he had this vision. And it's very interesting. We've heard about Project Bluebeam. So why would they bring out Project Bluebeam? Okay, so Werner von Braun, who was a Nazi scientist that came over from, as part of NASA.
Nazi scientist? Oh, we got him. We got von Braun, right? The V2 guy. Where did he come from? But where did Mengele go? The angel of death. Where did he go? And who did he work with? And what did he accomplish? Really, they're all working together. All right. Type in Joseph Mengele, Roswell, Russia, right? And the truth will come out about what happened at Roswell. Right? And it's just more of the same. There's a parallel project going on there trying to imitate the angels. And you have
Project Paperclip from Germany. And he said on his deathbed, supposedly, that this Project Bluebeam.
He said on his deathbed, God is real and we're tripping.
Or this alien invasion would be their last shot at controlling humanity. If everything else
Be our last shot at playing God before he reveals us.
failed, right? So are we close to that point? Is it actually going to happen on Sunday? My thoughts are no.
Okay, so the name of this the name of this lesson will be Ground Invasion or Alien Invasion or both. Okay, so this is Sirach 12. You know where I'm going, real quick. What are we to do in this war? Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. That's all I'm going to read on that. Never trust thine enemy. All right? And then I'm going to go here back to 5 real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and close. So, between now and Sunday, there could be an invasion. There could be an alien invasion. There could be Sunday, it's supposed to happen on Sunday, the alien. But there could be a ground invasion. And then with this witchcraft, right? Sirach 5 and 15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or small. Let me get one more. Because that's all this is. Stand down. To put the thought of alien invasion, that could be, what could it mean down on the border? Oh, well, they're having a drug war, the cartels, and it's an alien invasion. They're shooting at each other and they're using drones. Oh, they're drones down in Texas. No, those are chariots. Okay, so all of this is stand now. All of this is what? Witchcraft, muddy in the water. Oh, invasion, alien invasion, ground invasion, mind invasion, mind control invasion. Isaiah 47:12 in the NIV. Keep on then with your magic spells and with your many sorceries which you have labored at since childhood. Perhaps you will succeed, perhaps you will cause terror. Now use your magical charms, use the spells that you have worked at all these years. Maybe they will do you some good. Maybe they can make someone afraid of you. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. So we'll sit back and watch what's going to happen this weekend. I hope they do Bluebeam personally. With that, I'll pray that the elect ratified you, brothers and sisters.